Hi, friends. So today we're going to continue to work on our new book series, the book series book club for Readers Workshop. So we're doing session 2 today. Now let me share my screen. There we go. All right. So like I said, we're going to continue to talk about our book series book clubs, and we're in session 2. And our focus today is that series book readers pay attention to how characters respond to problems. Ooh. So we're going to talk about some problems these characters run into and how they respond. Do they respond negatively? Do they respond positively? So we need to pay attention to these problems these characters go through, and we need to pay attention to how they react. So let's play a little imagination game. Are you ready? Close your eyes. Don't cheat just because I can't see you. Close your eyes. Now imagine it's a hot summer day and you're at the beach. You just bought a triple scoop ice cream cone. You walk away from the ice cream cone stand, holding your cone carefully. As you go to take your first lick, the ice cream drops right onto the sand. What would you do? You don't have a partner, but somebody next to you, or tell yourself, what would you do? How would you react to that situation? That's a problem. Then how would you react? I think I would probably get so mad and stomp on the ice cream cone. I just get so mad. And that's how I would react to the problem. How about you? So here's another one, okay? Close your eyes. Imagine you are at the playground with your best friend, and he's getting picked on by a big kid. Your friend starts to cry and tells you he wants to go home. What would you do? Okay, I want you to tell somebody around you or talk to yourself, I guess. What would you do in that situation? I think I would stand up to the big kid and tell him that's not right. And hopefully I don't get hurt. That, or I would tell an adult that's around us or something. But I think that's how I would react to the situation. How would you respond? Okay, last one. Imagine you're at the mall with your mom and there are people everywhere. Suddenly, you can't find your mom. You're lost. What would you do? Oh, I know I'd be sad. But how would I react to this situation? I think I would cry, but find the closest store and tell the employee to help me. I've gotten lost when I was a kid from my parents. What would you do? I'm sure it's happened before. What did you do? So there are many different ways a person can respond to a problem or how they react, right? When your ice cream falls in the sand, you can have a tantrum and just pitch a fit, or you can say, is there any way I could get another one? Or you could scoop up the top part of the ice cream and eat that part. I wouldn't do that. But some people, that's how they react, right? So today I want to teach you that the way a person responds to a problem says a lot about who that person is. In real life and in stories too, the way a person responds to trouble or a problem gives clues as to what kind of a person this is. So think about your book. Is there a place where your main character runs into a problem? If there is, you need to remember that series readers become experts at characters, not only by collecting information about the main characters, but we also pay attention to how the character responds to problems. What's the problem in your book they ran into and how did they react? Okay, did they lose something and how did they react? Did they get sad, mad? How did they react? How they respond says a lot about that character. So I have a post-it note in our Frog and Toad book because when we left off reading yesterday, we knew one problem, right? The problem was Toad's house was a mess, right? It was a mess and he was feeling grumpy and tired. That was the problem, right? His house was a mess. So I want you to watch what I do to notice how the characters in this book respond to the trouble, to a problem. Then in a moment, you can think about your book. Let's reread the story as we started yesterday called Tomorrow. As we reread and as we read on too, we know Toad has a problem. It isn't spilled ice cream though, right? His problem is a messy house. But Toad has a choice, just like you do, when your ice cream drops in the sand. How will he respond to his problem? All right, so I'm going to reread it. Toad woke up. Drat, he said. This house is a mess. I have so much work to do. Frog looked through the window. Toad, you are right, said Frog. It is a mess. Toad pulled the covers over his head. I will do it tomorrow, said Toad. Today, I will take life easy. So what do I do first? What I do first is pause and think. How does a character respond to the problem? So the problem we noticed is Toad's room was a mess. How did Toad respond? I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I don't want to do it. That was his reaction. That tells me he's a bit lazy. That's how I took that. How did you? So are you thinking that it seems like Toad tries to ignore the problem? That's another way to think about it. He pulls the covers over his head. He doesn't even want to look at his messy house. He says he'll do it tomorrow. So that's how he responds to the problem. So after that, I think, how does the character respond to the problem? I think, what does that say about the kind of person they are? Well, he responds to the problem by avoiding the problem. So this takes some thinking, right? Let's see. Toad's house is messy. So he goes under the covers and goes over the covers of his bed saying, go away, mess. What kind of person responds to a messy house that way? Do you guys have an idea what kind of person? Are they a clean person? How would you describe a person that responds to a messy house like that? What's your idea? So I know many of you guys have ideas. Unfortunately, we can't share ideas because we're not in person. I heard many of you say, which I didn't, but I'm sure you did, you think that Toad is lazy and irresponsible. And he is so lazy and irresponsible, you guys. He has work to do, but he doesn't get started cleaning. Instead, he stays in bed and says he'll do it tomorrow. So he responded to the problem by avoiding the problem. And that tells me that he is very lazy. So do you see how we can learn even more information about the characters when we look carefully at how they handle the problems that they face? So just by seeing how he responded to the problem, I learned that he's very lazy. So in our Frog and Toad book, there is a problem. Toad's messy house. And though this won't always be the case in the story, we can see the way two different characters respond to that one problem, right? Toad was lazy, didn't want to deal with it. How about Frog? How did Frog respond? You guys think he's lazy? Let's think about this same story, and this time let's think about how Frog responded to the problem of Toad's messy house. And let's think what that shows about Frog as a character. So instead of looking at Toad, we already figured out Toad is lazy. Let's think about Frog. How did Frog respond? And what does that tell us about him as a person or animal? Frog came into the house. Toad, said Frog, your pants and jacket are lying on the floor. Tomorrow, said Toad from under the covers. Your kitchen sink is filled with dirty dishes, said Frog. So, what does Frog do about the problem? What did he do? I want you to think about it. What did he do? So we know that Frog isn't letting Toad just ignore the mess. He comes inside and points out all the things that need to be cleaned up, right? Now let's think, what does this show about the kind of person Frog is? So based on what we saw, based on how Frog responded, how would we describe Frog? I want you to think about it. So I'm sure you said this, but Frog is responsible because he wants to fix the problem right away. And maybe a little bossy because he's telling Toad what to do. So although he is very responsible because he wants to fix it right then and there, maybe he's a teensy-weensy bit bossy. And I'm sure you guys thought the same thing. So you'll want to read on, collect more information about your characters, more ideas about your characters. and noticing other problems. So you might notice other problems that come up, and you might notice how the character responds, and you can learn even more about the characters that way. So today, this is what you're going to be doing. I want you to think about, what is the problem in your book? So in the book you're reading, what's the problem? And how did the character respond to that problem? So maybe you're reading a book and there's something happened, right? What's the problem? How did your character respond? What did they do? And how would you describe the character because of how they responded to that situation, okay? Basically what we practiced today, you're gonna do that with your own book. You're gonna write this question in your journal, send me a picture, and that's how you will respond. Let me stop sharing my screen. Oh, here it goes, stop share. So that's what you're gonna do today. You're gonna write that question in your journal. When you're done, you're gonna take a picture, send it to me for credit, and that's really it. It's super easy. If you have any questions, you can send me a message on Class Dojo. I hope that this is really easy for you, and if it helps to rewatch the video, by all means do it. I hope you have a great day.